Hey, we're the Daltons. I'm Clint, she's Sandra, and we're on the current. So today we're going to talk about marriage on a mission. And by the way, happy Valentine's Day. We just coming to you from the Daltons with that. I'm going to let my wife start this off today.
Well, you know, it's funny because we decided to make this episode, to take this time to talk about marriage on a mission. And it's funny because my husband, during our dating, he would always say, we're living, we're loving, we're building. Say it, because I love the way
living, loving, and building. Baby.
So he would, during our dating, he would always say, living, loving, and building. We're going to be living, loving, and building. Then we got married. And he's like, you know, he would even text me, living, loving, and building. And I said, you know something? I said, we're going to adopt that as our mission statement. And I've never in my life have done a mission statement. You know, we talk about in the marketplace, in entrepreneurship, in business, in ministry, developing your mission statement, right? I want to ask you out here today, have you ever considered doing a mission statement for your marriage? I've never, ever thought about it until we got married, and he just kept saying living, loving, and building. And so I'm like, this is going to be our mission statement. This is, and God, during my prayer one time, babe, you don't know this, but during my prayer one time, I heard you say living, loving, and building. So that's crazy because I was listening to God, but I also heard Clint at the same time.
You know what that means?
Oh my
God's
God.
on my side.
So I heard God say, I want you guys to live your lives. This is what he told me. He said, I want you to live your lives, a marriage on a mission. We are 50s. We got married in our 50s. And so it's different when you get married at your 50s. And so I was like, we don't have any more time to waste. We got to be intentional about every decision we make. We got to be intentional, right?
Yes.
And so the Holy Ghost began to speak to me about what you kept saying, living, loving, building. He said, I want you to adopt that into your marriage. And I want you to adopt this message, living, loving, and building. And so this is going to be like, how do you want to say, your GPS? That's the word I'm looking for. This is going to be your GPS. You know, when you're going the wrong direction, your GPS tells you, rerouting.
Turn right now.
It doesn't say that. But, so your marriage mission keeps you in line with God. It keeps you in line with one another. And it keeps you with purpose in your marriage. You know what I'm saying? So do you want to jump in?
Well, I didn't want when I didn't want, we both been married for a while.
Yeah.
And
so we'll talk about that.
I didn't want to have that.
Which was what?
Well, I'm just saying, my wife, bro, she ready. We ready. Sandra's ready? No, I'm just saying. No, but I didn't want to have the negative in my life. I didn't want the negative drama, the toxic drama.
Yeah.
I didn't want to be roommates anymore. I didn't want to be I didn't want to be all the things that got us to divorce, I didn't want to do that. So in this marriage, when I got divorced, and then when I started dating and wanted to date again and wanted to be with somebody again, in my mind, I decided no drama, but I also decided, am I healed enough to get in a relationship with somebody? Not that I was perfect, believe me, I got my drama, but I didn't want the kind of drama that hurt people. I didn't want the kind of drama
toxicity. Yeah.
And I didn't want to live with
the
their
dysfunction.
Trauma. Right.
Yeah.
I didn't want to live with their major trauma.
Yeah.
So it was just a balance of, God changed me.
Yeah.
It was my prayer. So if I'm going to have that response, then, that question in God's response, and my response to God should be to be willing to surrender those things that don't necessarily matter to me.
Yeah.
but matter in the next marriage.
Yeah, well, let's back it up a little bit. I wanted to kind of share like how we arrived to this point. You know, I was married for 20 years. I was married for 20 years to someone doing ministry with, and and for those who don't know, and maybe you do know, but there was an affair, and I was publicly humiliated. I felt so I was publicly humiliated. Everybody in our church, everybody in our community, our kids, everybody, everybody around ministries knew about it. I felt publicly humiliated. I felt embarrassed. I felt ashamed. It made me question my identity. I started internalizing it as it's all my fault. I'm not good enough. I'm not good enough. I'm not valued enough. I'm not enough. You know, and so I started internalizing what was really not even my responsibility. You know what I mean? And so and then, of course, God restored our marriage. And then 3 years later, 2 years later, he died of COVID. And then I went on this journey of healing, like you were saying. Like I began to do some internal work from my previous marriage and examine, like I really needed to sit with God before I even considered. I didn't even want to consider to be married. Being married for 20 years, like, I mean, don't get me wrong, it has its ups and it has its downs, but I felt like I'm free, I'm free at last, thank God I'm free at last. No, I'm just kidding. but anyways, I did want to take time and enjoy freedom. I wanted to take time and I really started asking myself, what do you like? Because sometimes when you're married for 20 years, you get wrapped into your partner, you lose your identity. You forget, what do you like? You forget what do you want to do with your life? You know what I'm saying?
And that's what happened to me. She came clean, I'll come clean. My spouse had an affair. And I lived with it though. I went through the process of anger. I'm going to get divorced, and God told me no, to forgive her, and I just couldn't. I could forgive her, but I couldn't just live with that. And so it just separated us, and it's like a further divide. But I just also too, I didn't want another man's influence on my children.
Yeah.
So I stayed, which is bad for
that
them,
is actually, so honorable, I mean? Though God, that is so honorable. Yeah, but babe.
I think it's both. It's honorable, I guess. Okay, but I also think I hurt them in a way because I just showed them that it's okay to allow disrespect. It's okay to allow that, and it's okay to live how you want to live. And that's where I dropped the ball.
Okay,
you understand?
Yeah.
I think they would be maybe not in a better place, but they would probably be in a different place.
Yeah.
But this is a decision I made. I didn't want another man's influence, and I didn't want to, pack up my kids every other weekend and fight about who's going to take them to Disneyland and all that stuff. I didn't want to do that.
Yeah.
And so I did it, and I did kind of lose myself. And wonder if there was anything better, or if this was just what it is.
Yeah.
This is called life, So when I, got divorced and I was single, I just.
How long were you single for?
7 years.
Wow.
7 years. And basically you could say a long time, because I was checked out of the marriage right after the affair. I was checked out. There would be a lot of times I would sleep on the couch or.
So like you were saying, you became roommates.
Yeah, roommates.
Yeah,
mm-hmm.
Yeah,
basically.
Yeah.
Yeah. Not fair to anybody in the relationship.
Yeah.
So, I do all my faults, but
it doesn't matter, but the key thing for us is that I love the fact that you said, you asked yourself, am I healed enough to start dating again? Mm-hmm. Wow. Like, we don't do that. Like, we're ready to take, we're ready to jump into, well, he hurt me or she hurt me. I'm ready to jump in. Let this person come and fix me because the other person didn't fix me. They broke me, but this person is going to fix me. And that's the lie of the enemy. Like, there's really no one on this planet Earth, no matter how amazing they are, can fix you.
Right.
Only actually God. He's the source of the brokenhearted. The Bible says he's the healer of the brokenhearted. And I think the worst injustice we can do to anybody and put that type of responsibility on another man or another woman is unrealistic expectations. And I think we all do it. I think you're supposed to come in and fix everything that Joe did to me. You're supposed to come in and fix everything that Jan did to me, right? And so, but it never works. And then you find yourself in another messed up relationship.
Yep.
And
the cycle continues.
And the cycle continues. That's
the
good.
sand flows through this hourglass. That days of our lives saying is like sands through the hourglass. So are the days of our lives. And I ain't having a soap opera life. I'm just not. I'm doing it. I'm not doing it. But I do want to live.
Yeah.
So living, loving, and building.
Yeah.
I want to, with my living.
Yeah.
I want to live ridiculously relentless in everything I do, which is my relationships, my jobs, and adventure.
Yeah.
I ain't trying to sit at home.
Yeah.
Look at four walls. I'm finna be at the beach.
Yeah.
I'm fixing to be,
hiking,
in the mountains.
Yes.
Fishing.
Yes.
We out.
Taking your wife on date nights.
That part.
Taking his wife on date nights. Cooking me dinner.
Doing the laundry even. Living ridiculous. But anyway, so with the living, I do want to live, and I want to live with an intentional relationship, number one, with God first.
Yeah.
Because I didn't have that before in that relationship. And I want different, so I got to move different.
Yeah.
And
that's one of the things we did. Myself. Yeah. And the funny thing about us is that I love is we never intended on being together.
No.
Like, he became my health coach and a friend. Like, that was it. I mean, he was just in the middle of a breakup. Yeah. Remember?
Yep.
And this is crazy. This is crazy. So, he was became a member of our church. True story. He became a member of our church, and he started helping me. Like, we were doing an exchange. Like, I was my son, who's our senior pastor of Total Restoration Ministries, and myself became his pastors. And so he would call us for guidance, for direction, for spiritual. So we were like just friends doing this exchange. Like, he was giving me health coaching tips, and I was giving him relationship coach.
Spiritual advice.
Yeah, spiritual advice about his breakup. And I'm like, dude, if you go back to her, I'm going to slap you. No.
Yes, I remember this. Yeah.
Yeah. So.
No intent.
Yeah.
And there was, on our Facebook page thing, we just on the messenger thing, whatever. Hey, I was like trying to engage because I didn't know anybody here. I just moved here. And I didn't know anybody here. So I was like, hey, I'm going to go to the beach Saturday. Anybody want to go? And then all sorts of people would say yes. And then we were like the only two that showed up.
No, we were the only two that showed up. So we're like, we might as well go. So we started going out, just walking, talking, getting to know each other. Again, it wasn't nothing intentional. Yeah, no. There was no, but as we continued to become friends, the best friends, we actually became best friends. And I started feeling like I could talk to you about anything. Like, I felt you started making me feel safe. And I started making you feel safe to be vulnerable.
Yes.
You were sharing, deep, intimate hurts and things. Yeah. And I was sharing deep, hurtful things. And we began to create a space, an environment of safety without intentionally, you know what I mean? Like, and so.
Yeah, it just like it was like meant to be.
Divine appointment.
Yeah, God did it.
Aren't you glad?
Yes.
Aren't you glad?
Yes,
he's blessed, y'all. He just blessed. You know what I'm saying? But getting back.
I am the lucky one.
Oh, we're both lucky, babe. I'm the lucky one too. I really am. And so getting back to our living, loving, and building. And so one of the things we have adopted is a mission statement of living, loving, and building. The Bible talks about, I have come to give you life and life more abundantly. And if you cannot do life, amazing life, adventurous life, fun life, hurtful life, and what I mean by doing life with your spouse is, I mean all of it. I mean embracing all of it. I mean the good, the bad, the ugly. We had only been married a couple of months, and his mom passed away during our. We're on our first vacation, because we're coming up on a year. Vacation. Yeah, we're coming up on a year, May. May that we got married. So we decided we're gonna do our rounds. None of our family was able to make it to our wedding. They all live on the East Coast, the Midwest. So we decided we're gonna do our introductories during our vacation. So we took 2 weeks off of our jobs so we could go visit. I could introduce him to my family in Ohio. He could introduce me to his family in Texas. And in the process, his mom passes. Like we took her out to eat. We had an amazing couple of days just hanging out with her, shopping, hanging out with her. And then we get a call in the middle of the night. She passes. And then we come back home. We stay there for the funeral. We do all of that. We come home. My husband gets sick. I mean, ruthlessly sick, like he was almost on the verge of dying. Like, I mean, this was weeks about a month after we left Texas?
No, it was a week. I got sick a week after we got home. Oh. So I did a good week at home.
Yeah.
And then that Tuesday, whatever happened in my body. And it was like even delirious. I don't remember like the last day of it. I just remember talking to her on the phone in the morning. I remember waking up a couple times in the bathroom floor when she got home and found me.
He was on the floor.
I was on the floor, and she was like, "Here, let's get you in the shower." So I turned the hot water on, and I got in the shower and laid down like I was in bed. I had no idea what was going on, and when she took me to the hospital,
I had to literally carry him. You know, I had to literally carry him into the ER, and they could not diagnose what he had. But I mean, immediately, as soon as the doctors saw him, they were like, get him in a bed, get him into some IVs. Like, it was like, I was scared. We didn't know what was going on. We're like, oh my God, like what is happening? Like, we just left Texas and buried his mom. Now it's this. And then the process, they still never diagnosed what you had. Right. But in the process of running all of these tests, they found a tumor that was sitting in between his lungs and his heart. Now we have another thing.
But I'm going to tell you too, the one thing that she told me, I had a very disgusting moment in the hospital, and she cleaned it up so I wouldn't be embarrassed. That, I mean, I don't know if I would have done it, to be honest. But she took she swallowed her pride. She swallowed, you know, her.
You're my husband.
Wife.
You're my husband. Right. That's what I'm supposed to do.
Yeah. And I didn't know, but I did. I got really nasty sick. And she just cleaned it up so I wouldn't be embarrassed. And I thought, wow, that's crazy.
Yeah.
But it's crazy good.
Yeah.
But it's crazy.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. So then we get hit with the tumor.
Thymoma cancer.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So now we're dealing.
Here I am arguing with the well, you can't tell me I got a gunshot wound. Let's go to surgery. Take it out. And he was, you know, he was a blessing. God already moved him into my life, and he surgically.
And the doctors and the interns, and it's so here we are. Yeah. We're going after our mission, and so marriage is not always pretty. Let's be real. Like, I don't like this Hollywood this Hollywood picture, this Facebook post that marriage is always amazing. Marriage has its bumps and detours. Mm-hmm. Marriage has its ups and downs. Marriage has its mountain and peak amazing moments, but it also has its valleys. Yep. And some things are beyond your control, like the loss of his mom, beyond our control. The fact that he almost died from some some type of disease we didn't even know what was, that he could barely, I had to literally carry him to the emergency room, then diagnose. So some things are beyond our control. And I think living, loving, and building is embracing all of the parts of marriage that you say I do to, right? That's why I love when you say the I do's. It's for richer, for poor, for goodness, and in health. So it's all a part of the journey of marriage. But if you have a mission statement, we're living our lives. We're embracing this part of our lives. We are going to pray. We're going to trust God. We're going to ask and invite others for prayer, but we're still going to continue to live our lives. And the good thing is that God, but through it all, I don't know, but I just had this we had this amazing peace. And I had this amazing, reckless, undescribable peace and faith. I knew that God did not give me this husband to take him from me. I knew that we had just recently got married. I don't care what the doctors are saying. I don't care what God has a plan for. And it's so crazy because when I told Apostle Eddie, he's like, don't even worry about it. He was like, God is just getting started with Clint. I was like, wow, and it was true. And when he said it, it just boom, you know what I'm saying? It gave me a peace.
And, it is, but, I ain't always a happy person. I'm not always good. Bro, I could go left real quick and go from holy to hood, they say. But, and life, I'm one way, she's another, sometimes I do have to ask her what's on fire. And then I'm sure she have to ask me why you gotta be that way, And even as far as even a living room, I tell you, I lived single for 7 years, so I had a process, and I have to learn that she's there too. But I do my dishes at night when I make the coffee, and I do this. But if she knows there's something in the sink, I don't care if it's 10 o'clock in the morning. I don't care if it's midnight, 3 o'clock in the morning. She up washing that sink. And I'm like, what? But those things can be irritating when, and also too, you can't always think for your spouse. Men, stop doing that. Really, he who finds a wife finds a good thing. And Proverbs 18:22. So, I know, and I had a mama too who would be like, you're gonna cook. I would be like, dang. We had chores, so chores are good, but also too, we have our way of doing things, and then she has her way of doing things, and we all know that creates conflict. But how do you react through the conflict?
There you go. There you go.
That's part of the building.
Yeah.
The living, loving, and building.
That's right.
You have to build it.
Yes.
And, you have to build it. So sometimes making the dishes right away, instead of keeping them up until, is putting a screw in a frame to make it solid.
Yeah.
So you gotta adjust. You gotta be willing to surrender.
Yeah.
And surrender with even God. You cannot, your marriage ain't gonna, and I'm just gonna say it, I learned it. I'm living it. I'm building it. A marriage through the foundation of God. I didn't have that before.
Yes.
I'm admitting it. I didn't have it before. And so
even when you have it, it's still a challenge.
Yeah, you got to challenge it, but you think different, you move different.
Yeah.
And you got to remember why.
Yeah.
Because I love her.
Yeah.
Why? Because I don't want to be alone.
Yeah. Yeah.
She's my best friend.
Yeah.
And so that's another thing. Marry your best friend.
Heck yeah.
Woo! But
I love how God did that for us. We had no intentions on being together, and we built a solid friendship with no agenda, no motives, no
judgment,
nothing. No nothing. And you were able to be yourself. I was able to be myself. And
it was really kind of funny because when we started having feelings for each other,
so
we had 3 conversations. So I'll just go to the second one. The second one was, Clint, I just want to reiterate, we're just friends. I'm your pastor. I'm this, and I'm like, okay. Then the third thing, Clint, we had a really good day, and we went with another friend. We were spending all day. It's New Year's Day last year, 2024, New Year's Day.
Yeah,
we spent in Santa Monica, going to different shops and having lunch and stuff, and with this friend, and
with my bestie.
Yes, and still not there, but we noticed. And the friend did too, because she was looking like, why did you just give in? It's so obvious. You know what I mean? But
yeah, we're sitting at the table and she keeps looking at him, then looking at me, then looking at him, and we're still in denial. Like, no, well, he's not. He's stuck. Like, I'm like, dude, stop staring at me.
She was too.
No, I'm like,
so
dude.
Anyway, on the way home, I get a phone call. We just barely separated to go our ways because we weren't married and we were friends. She says, Clint, she goes, I need to reiterate this conversation. And, we're just friends. And I said, okay, wait, this is the third one. Did you catch feelings? And she said, no, Clint, I'll call you tomorrow. And hung up on me.
Yeah.
But, we didn't intend.
Yeah.
We didn't. Like every doing Pomona cleanup. Well, not the Pomona cleanup one, the other one. The one we were doing today, I think, the outreaches.
Yeah, community pull up.
And community pull up, and then doing like feeding the homeless. And then
we were just doing church together.
Yeah,
we were going to church. We were volunteering.
Mm-hmm.
He was coming after work, right after work, and he was helping us serve the community. He was getting his, he was getting involved in the church and being a part of our outreaches. Mm-hmm. And I was like, wow, I love that. That you had a heart for God and had a heart for people. You know what I mean? So. Yeah. So getting back to our second part of the mission is living, is understanding that you have to embrace all of the part of the living, the life that you're doing with your life partner. It's going to be good days. It's going to be bad days. It's going to be up days. It's going to be down days. Accepting that's going to be imperfect. You're not going to be on all the time. And so the second part of our thing was love. And love is key, because even 1 Corinthians says all hope, love, but the greatest of these is love. And you got to be willing to love. And I love, because you have to cultivate love. In other words, you got to grab we were talking about this yesterday. You got to grab a shovel and you got to go to work, right? And so when things are going bad in marriage, the first thing many people do, they want to start looking for somebody else. Maybe the grass is greener somewhere else. But when you make a commitment to stay loving, it's a choice. I'm going to love you when you're good. I'm going to love you when you're getting on my nerves. I'm going to love you when we don't see eye to eye. I'm going to love you even though we have differences of opinions. I'm going to love you when we I have an argument. You know what I'm saying? But then there's always the makeup, hint, hint. Anyways.
She's out of control. We're on TV. I love it.
But you know what I'm saying, but we're talking to adults. You know what I'm saying? And just because we're saved don't mean that we don't, have intimacy, but that's part of the love language. That's part of love, is having intimacy. Sexual intimacy is part of love. You know what I'm saying? So, and so love, I think that, we have to adopt a love. The love of Jesus Christ is what I'm talking. Not a secular love, not imaginary love, not a love with conditions. You have to love your spouse like Jesus loves you. And if Jesus loves me, wow, I'm not perfect every day. I don't do everything the right way. Sometimes I want to cuss people out on the 405. Yes, I'm a pastor. I still want to cuss people out. You know what I'm saying? So 3 minutes.
Holy the hood.
Yeah, holy the hood.
So, I hope we kind of helped you with the living, loving, and building part. We want to encourage you to get involved with people who love each other. People, you got to associate yourself with good people, but love, man, and seek it. Talk to your pastors. Come to our conference. Again, it's going to be in February. Yeah. But it is Valentine's Day, and I just want to make sure that I participate with my wife, my beautiful, lovely wife.
Oh,
will you be my Valentine?
Yes, I will. Look at you. Look at. Oh, thank you.
You're so welcome. Oh. So, we just want to close with living, loving, and building. Have a mission statement. Live out your mission. Yeah. You get one shot, or you should. So don't waste it.
Yeah. Yeah. Don't waste, enjoy the partner that God give you. continue to be intentional about showing appreciation. Like sometimes we women, and I'm getting ready to close, but we can be naggers, and I'm admitting it for all of us. But I have to stop and say, Holy Spirit says, stop it, stop it. And I have to stop and say, I thank you for being amazing. I thank you for taking the trash out. I thank you for buying me flowers. I thank you for thinking about me today and texting me. And text your spouse. Continue to never stop dating your spouse. Send them texting. Sometimes I wake up, my husband has a love note for me sitting on the coffee table. And so you better never stop. You're going to be in trouble. So this is the thing. So really quickly, this is the thing I tell them all the time. If you don't act right, you're going to be in trouble with God.
She sure does. But I just want to say, men out there, put the pride down, man. Put the pride down. Love your wife, love your children.
Yeah.
Love your church, love your community.
Yeah.
And you know, testosterone, it's not always a good thing.
Yeah.
Just make sure you're doing that for your families and stuff. I just want to talk real quick about that while I'm saying that. Conversations for men by men. We have that. I'm booking now.
Yes.
Come on, we got to,
yes.
you know, the vision is to get men intimate with God so they can be more intimate at home.
Come on now.
And I mean that in your child's life. I personally have a problem with a 10-year-old little boy wanting to be a little girl.
Yeah.
So I'm going to be quiet with that, but it's on the video. It's on the little roll after this thing. Conversations for men by men, book now. Don't miss it.
Yes. And also, if you are interested in getting, wanting to get involved in something that you can make a difference, you can, there's going to be something after the video, Total Restoration Ministries, Restore Her Place, where there's going to be a video that is going to give you an opportunity to connect with our organization, how you can get involved, how you can partner, how you can get involved into our newsletter. So thank you guys. Happy Valentine's Day.
So stay current.
Stay current. Stay current.
See you next time.
See you next time.
Thank you for watching Kingdom First.